Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Today we are diving back into the world of Green Compass. Now, if you weren't with me a while back, like right after I started my YouTube channel, I did do a couple of videos on Green Compass, one being a deep dive, so I will link those in the description below. But if you're not familiar with Green Compass, they are of course an MLM, network marketing company, whatever you want to call it. And what do we think they carry? You guessed it, health and wellness products. All of their products focus on CBD, so everything they carry contains something from CBD and the hemp plant. Now, these individuals, they do not have to have any kind of training or certification to sign up for this MLM. All they have to do is decide they want to join and then purchase a join kit. That is how they get into this and start recommending different kinds of CBD products to people. I personally take a very strong stance on things like this because health and wellness is not something to mess around with. If you've been here a while, you probably get that vibe already. So I feel like you should have some kind of backing behind what you're doing before you're going and recommending somebody in just anything that is used for medicinal purposes. Now, these individuals, of course, like all other health and wellness MLMs, they love to make outrageous health claims as well as income claims. And this particular call that we're going to be reacting to in this video is in fact an opportunity call. So I'm sure we're going to hear all of the outrageous claims and we're going to get right into it. But first, we need a disclaimer. Okay, now that that is out of the way, we have one more piece of housekeeping, and if you are not new here, you know that you can go on down to the bar at the bottom of the screen here and skip ahead to where it says reaction starts here, or you can go to the description where you'll find the chapters and you'll see a timestamp where it says reaction starts here, and you could just click right there. Otherwise, if you are new here, please give this a listen at least one time. I do not blur the names or the faces of the individuals that I react to in my videos. This does not mean that I am encouraging anybody to go and seek these individuals out and send them hateful messages or mean comments.
It's tempting, but we can't allow it.
My content is meant to be educational, but most of all, entertaining. So let's all do our part and keep it that way. And with that, we're finally gonna get the into it.
I'm glad you're here. I know it is a Thursday night and there are a million other places you could be.
You got that right.
So we really appreciate you taking a little bit of time to hear about Green Compass and what we stand for, CBD, and all that good stuff. So I'll go ahead and get started out of respect for everybody's time. My name is Nikki Howard. I am in Raleigh, North Carolina. Y'all pop it in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. I love to see people tuning in from all over the country to hear more about CBD and hemp-based wellness. To tell you a little bit about me, I have been with Green Compass for almost 5 years. We're about to have our 5-year anniversary, actually February 6th, and I joined at the end of February in 2019. And I can tell you 5 years in, I'm still excited every single day to share this because I have a deep love for the products and this business and what it's done for myself and my family. I have like chill bumps just getting to share. So I'm really honored to be able to share with you guys tonight. And I'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room. We are not selling marijuana. This is hemp-based CBD. I'll tell you a little bit about how we are different. There is the cannabis plant, and there are two different strains of the cannabis plant. So there's hemp that is grown to be low in THC and high in CBD. And then there is marijuana, and that is what is high in THC and very low in CBD. So when you think of it kind of like grapes and wine, when consumed, they do two totally different things. So this is hemp-based CBD. Myself, my whole family, including my 7-year-old and my 9-year-old, they take these products. My husband takes these products and he works for our local hospital.
With that in mind, you always want to be careful when you're purchasing CBD because just because the plant primarily has CBD in it, you can have THC in that product. And there have been instances in the past past where people have consumed CBD products where they're not thinking there's THC in the product. They get taken for a random drug test at their work and they pop positive, and they never knowingly have taken part in THC activities. So that's something to always be aware of, especially when you're going through an MLM. I always say if you're in a state where it's legal, visit a dispensary because they know what the they're doing, and they have to follow the laws of the state to be able to sell it and also to be able to say it's THC free. So I always say that's your best bet. Just go to a dispensary. Also, I know that Green Compass does have third-party testing that they offer on their website to look at. So at least they have that, but always look at the third-party testing, especially if you're looking for CBD and you want to make 1,000% sure it does not have any ounce of THC in it.
So this is safe. This is for the heal, not the feel. So I went ahead and addressed that elephant in the room there. To tell you a little bit about me, I was probably a good 5.5 years ago. I needed help mentally and physically. I was struggling with joint pain and inflammation. I'm not making any medical claims. This is just my personal experience. I had just lost a parent. My father had passed away, and I had 2 young kids, just a little shy of 2 years apart. So I needed something mentally and physically. I had been the prescription route, and it wasn't for me. I have lots of friends that sing its praises, but it made me crazier than I already was, believe it or not. So I started looking for holistic options to help me. And when I was searching, CBD kept coming up. But of course, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I also sat on the board of our preschool at our church. So I was like, I can't be associated with that. People can't see me going to the vape shop to get my CBD stuff. It'll make me feel funny.
What are you so afraid of?
But it kept coming up, and I kept reading up on it, and I realized that, it's hemp-based, not marijuana-based. And so I bought some off of Amazon, 2 different brands, used it for a couple months and just thought, well, this isn't working. But a girlfriend who you'll hear from later, was actually an acquaintance of mine, but my husband knew her and her husband. She reached out to me one day and she's like, what do you know about CBD? And I was like, well, I know it doesn't work. I've taken a few different brands and, it doesn't work. And she really educated me on that not all CBD was created equal, which I had no idea. So we did some digging, and what I was taking was basically like a cooking oil. Could be good for my skin, but not for anything, mentally or physically wise. And she told me about Green Compass, and it was checking all the boxes that I didn't even know that I should be looking for. But it was vertically integrated, which means that we control the whole process. There's no middleman. It's USDA certified organic. There's a third-party lab test, so you can check and see exactly what's in your product and what's not in your product. I love that it was grown in North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina, and I was like, wow, all these things are kind of pointing to, let me try this. So
they like to make that sound like it's this big thing, like we're USDA certified organic, we're third party tested. You don't have to look within an MLM to find certified organic or third party tested CBD products. A lot of businesses offer both of those things and are way less predatory.
I bought a kit because, like I said, I was a stay-at-home mom, and my husband is cheap. We call him Coupon Clayton. And you can get these kits like full of products. So I was like, I'm going to get this kit. And if all else fails, I've never done a business like this before. But I want to try the products and see what happens. And what happened was about 3 weeks into taking the CBD oil, we didn't have jellies at the time. My husband told me I was pleasant to be around. And that was a huge compliment because apparently I was just yelling and screaming and not great to be around until then.
Yikes.
I don't know if I would have taken that as a compliment. I would have been like, what the f is that supposed to mean? What are we doing?
But then I started noticing I was able to fall asleep and stay asleep. I noticed that I wasn't flying off the handle when little things would go wrong. And I was just handling really stressful situations with ease. And so how could I not share that with people?
This is not sharing.
You are selling
Bullshit.
And that's That's why I'm here today sharing this. I did a complete 180 and was able to be am able to be a more present mom. I'm in less pain, but most importantly, this ended up being something that my son needed. He's 9, he'll be 10 in about 2 weeks. And I had no idea at the time that these products were going to be able to help him. And so I just want to shout this from the rooftops because, this is something, like I said, that's helped me and my son. Now my daughter and my husband take these products too.
Oh, here we go.
Now we're just promoting giving it to children. I don't know how old her kids are, but I hope that she talked to her pediatrician before administering CBD to her children. I am a firm believer in the benefits of both plants, but I would not personally, from what I know as an adult with a fully developed brain, I would not administer a CBD product or a THC product to my child before a doctor or multiple doctors have said it's okay to do so. That is terrifying to me. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just overthink everything, especially when it comes to my kids, but it's just not something that I would be comfortable doing. And I also wouldn't be promoting it to people if my kids were taking those things, because I would hate to be a reason that somebody's child may have gotten harmed. And something that I just want to make clear before anybody comes for me in the comments, I know that some things that I talk about on my channel are very controversial and everybody has their own opinion, and that's fine. And I'm not saying that you're a bad parent if you do give your child CBD products, if that is something that you talk to their pediatrician about and you've gotten opinions that you're comfortable with and you know that your child is okay consuming that type of thing and they're not getting a high from THC. I don't think that's a bad thing. What I think is a bad thing is that she's promoting it to people, that she is now giving this to her whole family, including her son and daughter, and not saying, talk to your doctor first. That would be the first thing you want to say when you're saying, I've had a good experience with CBD with my children, but I don't recommend you give it to your children until you've talked to a doctor first. That's what I'm saying. I hate that these MLM companies, specifically in this case, Green Compass, are out here saying this is safe to give to your children to consume.
So what is CBD? How does it work? How is it helping me and my son? We have totally different issues. CBD is actually a cannabinoid that is found in the hemp plant. So the hemp plant actually has, I think, 140 some cannabinoids, and CBD is one of them.
This is cannabinoid health, and I am its face.
And it's one that goes in and feeds a receptor in our body that is called a system in our body that is called the endocannabinoid system. No, we're not going to take a test. You don't have to write this down and know how to spell it. But the endocannabinoid system is something really cool. It was actually discovered in the 1990s, and it is one of the biggest systems in our body. There's receptors from our head all the way down to our toes. I'm not a scientist, but if you can picture yourself, I'm a visual learner. So picture yourself wrapped in Christmas lights. Over time, if you're a Christmas tree and you're wrapped in Christmas lights, over time, you're going to have different lights go out, just due to different things going on in your body, different environmental things. And CBD is basically, you go in, you take your CBD, it goes in and it feeds those receptors that are out and lights those light bulbs back up, which is why it can help me. It might help me with sleep and anxious feelings and stress management. It might help somebody else with pain or, other things. That's why it's the one thing that goes in and feeds those receptors. So it's good for so many things. I love that it doesn't discriminate. That's why you hear people, young, old, animals, people, everybody can take it. It's pretty amazing. And we are literally just scratching the surface of this amazing plant and what it can do.
I'd also like to mention, as she's going on her spiel about the endocannabinoid system, which is an actual system that has been discovered in the human body. There's not a whole lot of studies on the endocannabinoid system at this point, as much as there is, say, the cardiovascular system. These systems that we already know are in our bodies. Our body is amazing, and there's always new things coming out. But anyway, as she's going on about this spiel, I do want to make one other point that I made in a previous previous Green Compass video, I believe, there have been some studies with CBD to show evidence that people who consume CBD for a long period of time eventually grow a tolerance to it and have to add a little bit of THC into the CBD product that they're using in order for it to continue working at the level that it's working. That's also something that they won't mention at Green Compass, because why would they mention that? They just want you to buy more CBD and think it's still going to work. So just know that when you're listening to somebody like this talking to you about the endocannabinoid system that they think they know so much about.
So that's a little bit about CBD and how it works, but you're probably wondering like what makes you different. Like I see CBD every time I'm at the, drive through, you see signs, you see it pop up on your Instagram when you're scrolling, you see it at the grocery store. Like I said before, Green Compass, I almost called it GC because that's my, term, but Green Compass is different because I love to say we were founded by a mom on a mission. We have a husband and wife, Meredith and Sterling Cook, that are located in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Maybe that's not a flex. If I founded a CBD company and said,
"This is a great company because I'm a mom and I'm on a mission,"
I don't care. Like, what do you know about the science behind the CBD? What do you know about growing the CBD? How do you process it? How does how you process it affect the CBD? Like, those things are important to know. Not to say I don't care that you're a mom, but I don't care that you're a mom on a mission. I don't care. What do you know about the thing you're selling me that I'm going to ingest? And how do I know that I can trust you? Because you being a mom on a mission, that ain't it.
And after the birth of her second child, Meredith just didn't feel herself. So her brother, Brooks, actually introduced her to CBD. He was taking it. He's a triathlete. And he was taking it for muscle recovery and different things. And he told her, like, you should try this. Like, I see people taking it for, different things after they have kids. And so she took a few different brands and she quickly felt like a fog had been lifted. And if you've had any babies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I only wish I had this when mine were little. But fast forward a few years down the road, she wanted to give CBD to her children. And like any parent, like you might take something for yourself, but when it comes to giving it to your kids, you're going to dig a little deeper and see what's in it and where it's sourced and, what additives are in it. And there was nothing out there that she felt comfortable about giving her kids. So she turned to her husband, who was in the agriculture business, and she's like, we should make our own CBD. And he was a smart husband and he listened to her. So they actually partnered with two brothers, Adam and George Wooten, who are 6th-generation farmers. So they're expert farmers, but they also had become experts in hemp because they were growing hemp for the North Carolina Hemp Pilot Program, which means they were growing it before it was even legalized in 2019 by the Farm Bill. So together they joined forces, and that's how Green Compass came to be. And I think that's really important because, like I said, you're seeing CBD pop up everywhere, and you're seeing that it's a huge, like, great industry, booming industry to be a part of. And what that means is that a lot of people want a piece of the pie. And you're seeing shampoo companies come out with CBD, potato chip companies come out with CBD, but it's not all created equal. And there really is a need for a trusted brand. Like I said, my kids take it. There are people that are medical professionals that take it. There are, people that are pregnant that take it. And
please no, if you're pregnant, talk to a doctor first. Please, for the love of everything holy, do not listen to an MLM consultant that's telling you it's okay to take.
you want to be able to trust what you're taking. So not only do we have founders and not investors, we've got founders that truly poured their heart and soul into this. We cultivate the soil, we fertilize everything, we harvest the crop. We use the cleanest extraction, which is the CO2 extraction. It's the cleanest method. A lot of people use less expensive methods that involve butane and all sorts of toxins, which is really scary. So, us being USDA certified organic also actually certifies like a 5-mile radius all around our farms. It certifies every single step of the process is the best, like, cleanest way. So there's no middleman, and you've got that, high level of quality in every single step of the way. But most importantly, and y'all, I sat down here and I don't even have a product with me. I don't even know how I did that. Probably because I popped my jelly before I started talking to you.
You did what now?
But all of our products have a little QR code on the bottom. There we go. Ashley's showing you. And you scan it with your phone, and it will pull up a third party lab test. And this is huge. This is small batch tested. So it is like this lab test is for that exact product that she's holding up. It tells you exactly what's in your products, but most importantly, what's not. And that is a huge thing that sets us apart because 80% of the hemp that's used in CBD products here in the US comes from China. And a little fun fact, it's because hemp is a mop crop and it soaks up all the pollutants in the ground, in the air, and it helps them with their pollution problem. So that means that 80% of those products that they're making with it, you're getting all those toxins in. So that's why this QR code and being USDA certified organic is huge.
Again, if you are in a state where it is legal, you can visit a dispensary, and most reputable dispensaries, at least the ones that I've been to, do have USDA certified, and they can show you where everything came from, and their stuff is third-party tested, and everything she mentioned, it's most likely less expensive. And you'll likely be supporting a actual small business that is local to you.
Let's see, I get sidetracked because I can get really passionate about this, but that is very important. Like I said, that's why people can trust this that are drug tested or pregnant or giving this to their kids. A little bit about us: when we started about 5 years ago, we had 3 products. We had our CBD oil, which is our tincture. You drop it under your tongue, hold it for about 30 to 60 seconds, and then swallow. And we had 2 topical creams. Now we have over 50 products. So that is a huge part of us being vertically integrated and us being so innovative. We're able, as we, like I said, we're just scratching the surface of what, benefits the plant can give you. So as we see a need, we're able to come out with these products. And it gives me cold chills because, Green Compass has a 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan. And I can only imagine what's coming down the pipeline. So now we have, like I said, our oil, which is our tincture, and we also have jellies, which is just another form of taking your CBD. Ashley's going to show them to you. You've got a few different types of them. Those are our broad spectrum jellies. Broad spectrum means that you get all the benefits of the plant minus the THC. So that's what most kids, people that are pregnant, anybody that wants to stay away from THC, they work in the medical field, they're drug tested. That is what they take. And that QR code is really important because it lets them rest assured that they are taking exactly what we're advertising those to be. We also have full spectrum jellies, which just have the trace legal amounts of THC. Still not going to get you high or make you feel funny, but it just gives you truly all the benefits of the plant. And something really cool to note is that our products are all made we extract the CBD from the flower of the plant. And that's actually the beneficial part of the plant. So you might see some people are like, oh, well, this other brand's a little bit cheaper. And once you start looking, they use the stalks and stems that actually have no benefit whatsoever, but it'll make more product. So this is a pure, organic product that is effective and safe for the whole family. But I could go on and on. We also have a pet line. The pet testimonials are amazing. And we have, I can't even talk, a skincare line, lots of things. And this summer, we even have something new that we're branching out into.
Oh, great. More bullshit.
Which I have no idea what that is. But every time I think that we have just couldn't get any better, we go and do it. So stay tuned for that.
What do we think? Is it going to be weight loss? Is it going to be supplements? What else could they possibly break into? Hair care? I don't know if they have hair care already. I can't wait to hear what other bullshit they'll be shilling.
But, just a little bit about me, and then I'll hand it over to Ashley. I 100% linked arms with Green Compass.
Linked arms. Stop linking arms with MLMs, please, for the love of everything holy.
And that's why I'm still here. I had no idea. Truly, like when I started, I didn't need a community. I had friends. I didn't need the business opportunity at the time. We were okay, but I had no idea like what was coming down the pipeline. And I am forever grateful that I get to be here and share this because it's all ended up being something that I needed, not just the products. The products, this community, and this business is something that is truly amazing. and anybody can do. So that's why we have so many people like adding this in alongside what they're already doing, or, going all in with this, because we've got just something really, really special here. And you can do it from your kids' playroom, which is where I'm tuning in from tonight. So I'll let Ashley tell you a little bit more about what we've got to offer.
But why not play with your kids in their playroom instead of work, right? Are you about to sell us time freedom too, on top of working from your kids' playroom?
Yay. Okay. What's up, y'all? My name's Ashley Shower. I live in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, and I've been with the company since January of 2019. So I just had my 5-year anniversary, and the company's coming up on our 5-year anniversary next month, like Nikki said.
What?
I don't think that's possible.
She had her 5-year anniversary with the company, and the company is about to have their 5-year anniversary. So how were you with the company before the company was the company? That's some MLM math right there.
I'm so excited because you're hearing from both of us who had no prior direct sales experience, y'all. We've never done anything like this. And so that's why I'm so excited that y'all get to hear from both of us tonight, because if we can do it, literally anybody can. But a little background on myself. Prior to getting involved with Green Compass, I was a special ed teacher for 6 years. Last 2 years of teaching was absolutely miserable,
I'm sorry, I just have to point out the obvious here. The South has to be oozing with MLM consultants. I feel like every recent call that I've reacted to has had multiple people with very deep Southern accents. And I'm just like, these poor people in the South are getting hammered by these MLM consultants.
Bless your heart.
supportive administrator, and it just left me literally having full-blown panic attacks pulling up the school parking lot because I did not want to go into the building. And on top of that, my husband and I, when I got introduced to Green Compass, it was around our 2-year mark of infertility, and we just started going to doctor's appointments. We were getting unexplained, and I was absolutely miserable pulling up in those parking lots, and I was having attacks. And I knew something needed to change. I wasn't looking for a direct sales company, but a girlfriend of mine, who she's listening right now, she reached out to me asking me what I knew about CBD. And it was crazy because I had just done research a few weeks prior to natural remedies to help with the way that I was feeling. And CBD had popped up, but marijuana popped up, just kind of like Nikki said, when I feel like still to this day, like when you hear CBD, people associate CBD with pot, marijuana, whatever you want to call it.
I just want to put this out there. Marijuana is not the devil.
But it is not that, but it just took me getting educated. I went to an information session here in Wilmington. I met the farmers, I met the founders, I met some of the corporate staff, and I was like, all right, what product will I ever be able to put in my body and meet the people that have created it? So I was a teacher living paycheck to paycheck. If you weren't looking at my husband's income coming in, I saw the kit as a discount. I wanted to try CBD. I got the kit, started taking the products, y'all, and did a complete 180. Again, not making medical claims. But truly, CBD changed the way that I felt.
Not making medical claims, but it has healed me. I can't. Like, you're literally making a medical claim right after you said you weren't going to make a medical claim.
And still feel today, I feel like my happy-go-lucky self. I'm very, very good at masking the way that I feel. And I masked that for so long. But luckily this fell into my lap, and that's really when I shifted gears. I had been presented so many opportunities, direct sales companies, and I always said no. I thought all of the negative things about the industry. It just took, again, me educating myself and seeing how this opportunity was different. This is not a pyramid scheme. That is when you have a business selling the business opportunity with really no product attached to it. Y'all, we've got over 74% customer retention rate. We've got way more customers than we do advocates. So we know that our products work.
You can have more customers than advocates, right? If you are claiming to have so much in sales, are most of those sales the customers, or are those sales, are the big sales, the big orders coming in from the consultants? And ma'am, you are an MLM and you can be a pyramid scheme with a product. FTC says it blatantly in the article that I always have listed in my description. Go click on it, read it. You can have a product and be a pyramid scheme. It's a mask to the pyramid scheme. This is what you have to look out for. People saying
It's not a pyramid scheme because we have a product.
it does not matter. These people are still on this call to what? Sell the opportunity, which she said pyramid schemes do, not Green Compass. You're about to sell them the opportunity.
So I squashed that. We know that this is not a pyramid scheme. We don't do parties. Being a teacher, or when I got involved, I was a teacher. And I also was tutoring 3 students, 2 out in the community and 1 in 5th grade gen ed. And I was also EC chair of the school. Also, being infertility and doing all those doctor's appointments, I did not have the time. And I was so worried about parties. This is something you truly can fit in the nooks and crannies of your day, whether it's on the way to work, on the way home from work, during lunch, at nighttime, after the kids go to bed, and
You still believe that crap?
We're still saying that today in 2024. You can fit this business in the nooks and crannies of your day. If you want to make a livable wage or even a penny, you cannot fit this business in the nooks and crannies of your day. You have to live, breathe, and eat the MLM to make your way to the top, to make any kind of livable wage.
aimlessly scrolling on your phone or watching Netflix, you start to see that you can fit this in. And then the inventory, if you weren't looking at my husband's income coming in, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have the funds to carry an insane amount of inventory in this. And when you join, you're given a link, and that's what you pass out to customers and, people that are interested in the business opportunity. So there's nothing that you have to worry about spending $500, $1,000 on this.
That's a strange way to put it. Like, if you didn't look at my husband's paycheck, I was living paycheck to paycheck. So you weren't actually living paycheck to paycheck. You're just saying if I was in a situation where I was single and alone, I would be living paycheck to paycheck. But I am a 2-income household, so I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Why use that as an example?
Inventory and just having it sitting there and having to worry about shipping it out. But what's so cool about this opportunity is that Green Compass wasn't supposed to be direct sales. We were supposed to be for medical professionals and doctors' offices and therapists, but they saw the high quality products that they were creating, y'all, and they wanted to get it to the masses the quickest. And that is direct sales. They call it the trifecta effect, where you've got your products, your compensation plan, and your leadership. I already told you we've got a 74% customer retention rate.
You do realize they were lying, right?
Is that what they told you? They said they wanted to put this in the medical offices, but instead they went the direct sales route. That is such a load of bullshit. That's because they can't put it in medical offices. It's not used in medical offices, at least not right now. The fact that people are actually thinking that this is a good thing and you're buying the bullshit that this company just said is ridiculous. As somebody who has been removed from the MLM world for a period of time, I'm not somebody that would think a company saying we were gonna bring it to the doctors, but instead we're gonna do direct sales. I'm not someone who would take that as a good sign. I would immediately reject that product. No, thank you. That scares me. Why? No. Sounds like a grift, actually.
We were projected to do, I think, roughly around $300,000 our first year in business. And we did 11.5 million. And that's just continued to double and triple as our years have gone on. And the industry is booming. When I got involved, I think we were around like a $500,000 industry. Now we're teetering like a $9 billion industry, projected to be around $48 billion in the next few years. That is opportunity.
It's unclear what specific industry she's referring to, but I know in other calls that I've seen and reacted to, when they say the industry, they're talking about the cannabis industry. Yes, the cannabis industry is continuing to grow, and their projected numbers also continue to grow. But an MLM that sells CBD products called Green Compass is not the same as the rest of the cannabis industry. Say, for example, grows and dispensaries. Those are the bread and butter in the cannabis industry. So what the are we doing? You can't walk around and tell these quote unquote potential consultants for Green Compass or partners or whatever they call them. This industry is projected to be over $48 billion in the next few years. The people who work in the dispensaries, the people who work in the grows, the people who work in the actual industry have to have training to do so. They have to have certifications to do so. They have to follow laws to do so. You guys are out here willy-nilly telling people to give their kids CBD.
With products, if you're getting involved with a company that has a high quality product that's doing all of the things, compensation plan. I've never done anything like this before, but now over the course of 5 years, I've seen a lot of different compensation plans. We have a very, very hefty one. If you are a numbers person, get with whoever invited you. We've got documents and trainings and videos that we can share with you, and we can even explain further, because someone like me in the beginning, it looked like a second language. So you might need, a little bit of help understanding it. But
that's a red flag, mother.
I say this in all my videos. You should not be that confused in your compensation for the job that you're doing. If you went to a sales job, which is what this is, it's a contracted sales position. Anytime you join an MLM, you're not a business owner. You're a contracted salesperson. You have a 1099. You wouldn't go into a contracted sales position at a pharmaceutical company without knowing the compensation plan and being able to understand it. And they don't make it this complicated in the pharmaceutical industry to be a sales rep, or in any other reputable sales industry that does not require you to recruit to make an income. You should be able to clearly understand what you are getting paid and how without a tutor.
The number one thing that I think we have to our advantage here is the leadership. Our team and the support that we have is unmatched. I had no prior direct sales experience. Nikki had no prior direct sales experience. We have all of the tools, all of the trainings, all of the resources for somebody to be successful in this. It's no recreating a will. It's literally what's your mind, your mindset, and your heart. Are you willing and do you want to help others feel better and live better? And everybody has different goals when they get involved with this. You don't have to think like, I've got to leave my job, or I've got to have hours upon hours to do this. No, I would probably say being number 3, my team is number 3 in the whole company. And I would probably say 3/4 of my team has full-time careers, and they're just fitting this in. Everybody's got different goals and, reasons why they are doing this, and in this economy, somebody's reason might just be some gas money or grocery money. Or you love your CBD and you want it covered, or there's people that want to go on vacations and not have to go into insane debt, or have college tuitions, whatever it might be. Or you might be like me, and I got pretty miserable at teaching and I wanted a way out. And when I got involved with this, I started to see the potential, and so everybody's different. But the cool thing is with our team and our family that we have created, we meet you wherever you want to be met. And we're going to take you underneath our wing. And if you want your products covered, we're going to teach you how to do that. But the leadership truly is unmatched. But y'all, there's different ways to get involved with our company. Like Nikki said, we've got over 50 products. You can become a customer, and start using our products, or you can join the movement like we have and get a product kit. We've got a kit without any products, but I always say you're bang for your buck, because once you join, you're never going to have the opportunity to get 50% off your products. But we've got 3 different kits. Get with whoever invited you. They can send you, again, documents and tools, all of the things, so you can see exactly what are in the kits. But when you join, you can use all those products and be greedy yourself, or you can be like me and pass some out to family members, and get their testimonial too, because that's what I did. I got the kit. I gave some product to my dad because he's got anxious feelings like I do and runs a business in Rocky Mount where I'm from. I gave some cream to my grandma who's had 2 knee replacements. I gave my uncle a pet oil for his dog who's got seizures. They all started to see a benefit. You could pass them out so you can get those testimonials. You can resell some of the products to get some money back. But once you join as an advocate, you're not required to ever purchase anything ever again if you don't want to. But I will say, when you start to take these products and you are consistent, and when I say consistent, it takes a good 30 days for the average person for CBD to get into your system. So don't think just because you get a kit, you start taking a jelly here and there, that magical unicorns are going to drop from the ceiling, because that's not going to happen. You truly have got to be consistent. But if you are consistent, you're going to start to see subtle changes, and you're going to want to start to use these products, and to be active and make a commission, it's $150. That's pretty darn cheap if you look at other comp plans to make a commission. So
let's say it together. You shouldn't have to pay for a job. It doesn't matter that it's pretty darn cheap at $150. You shouldn't have to pay for a job.
that's your own personal sales, or if you have customers. But y'all, this truly opportunity is something so, so special. Like, I never, ever thought in a million years I would be doing something like this. I went from teaching to the pharmaceutical world and worked there for about 15 months, all while doing Green Compass, again, in the nooks and crannies of my day. And I was able to build a very, very lucrative business. It didn't fall in my lap. It took work, but it is so fun. It is so rewarding, and it's easy if you allow it to be. But every day before my feet hit the ground, I'm like, okay, who do I get to help feel better and live better today? Or who do I get to help their financial situation? But it's just so rewarding. And my life looks so different than it did 5 years ago. Like I said, I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I was dealing with infertility, and it took, my husband and I were pregnant now, going to have a baby in May. It took us almost 7 years to get here. And in the midst of everything, I've been cool, calm, collected. There have been moments. I'm not saying there haven't been moments, but I truly believe it's because this right here and this business opportunity. I've never had to worry about any of my infertility treatments. Where was money coming from for my thousands and thousands of dollars for my medications?
Yet another MLM consultant and participant who is using infertility to rope people in, to get people to connect with her. I think this is such a gross way to get people to join your MLM pyramid scheme, in my opinion. Do I think that sharing stories about infertility and hard things that you go through is sleazy? No, I don't think it's sleazy at all. If that is going to connect you to somebody else, to have that connection with somebody for a non-monetary reason, do it up. Like, yes, let's make connections. We are human. But to use your infertility to make money off of people is absolutely disgusting. I hate seeing these representatives do that with their struggles with whatever it is. And their main goal in telling that story is to get people to connect with them so that they buy into their scam. Let's stop doing that, shall we?
And that, to have that weight taken off of your shoulders, to think back to teaching when I would have had to go get a loan, and what if it didn't work? It's just, it gets me very emotional. I told myself I'm not going to cry. I'm like hitting myself, but it truly is eye-opening when you talk about it. So I just say, if you've never done direct sales before, how would you ever know you're going to fail at this if you just don't give it a shot? Give it a shot. If it's not for you in 6 months, okay, it's not for you, but you got an insane deal on some amazing products, and that's it. Just maybe become a customer. Maybe you have been with a direct sales company before, and you didn't have an experience like you wanted to. How would you ever know this is different, and that our team is different and our culture is different, if you don't give it a shot? So I just say, I'm so thankful for each and every single one of y'all listening. Whoever invited you tonight sees something in you, and they want to help, whatever it might be. And so, yeah, I'm going to stop there. Hey, I've been doing this for 5 years too, and I break out every single time. So, anyways, yeah, I appreciate all of y'all for chiming in. Get with who invited you. Ask the questions, get added to our product hub page, get added to our business hub page, be able to see how people are feeling and living, and also the financial aspect. If y'all all are on Facebook, yeah. So anyways, I appreciate y'all all so much. And y'all all have an amazing night. Thank y'all.
Something I noticed that I wanted to point out before we close it out with our palette cleanser, they at least started the call with talking about the products. Then in the middle of the call, they said that they're not a pyramid scheme because they don't lead with the opportunity and they don't push with selling the opportunity. But the whole rest of the call was about the quote unquote opportunity. The contradictions. Okay, now it's time for our palette cleanser. TikTok hates your bullshit.
No, we're not leaving for like another 5 hours. Yeah, we got plenty of time. All right, shut up, I'm making a video. Oh my God, guys, you wouldn't believe it, but I only have 10 minutes until I have to leave the house. So do a really quick get ready with me.
I do always wonder how truthful these influencers are being with the amount of time they have before they have to leave the house. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.